Namaste, my name is Sanat Kumar. Welcome back to the Manana Podcast. Manana is a Sanskrit word that means reflection or contemplation. In this podcast, I'll be sharing my deep, insightful reflections for you to contemplate and hence live a life of fulfillment. I hope you find great value in today's episode. All the points mentioned in this episode assume you have got a true master. I'll soon be writing part 2 on the key characteristics or signs of a true master. You can read part 1 or listen to the episode, The Power of a Master's Presence. Okay, let's come to today's core discussion. 5 key lessons for Carnatic students from my 5 years of teaching. 1. Devotion. I've already mentioned this in the episode, one thing that distinguishes excellent students, devotion towards the craft and the master. There are various ways you can go about building devotion towards both separately, but most of the time it is intertwined. So here are a few pointers that can help. Devotion starts with trust. Trust the process and the steps guided by the master. By doing so, not only does it install devotion, but it eradicates doubts in the minds of the students. If master said it is possible, it is possible. All I have to do is practice as per his guidance. Know more about the master. This will obviously be very helpful in trusting the master. And when you know that your master has already done or accomplished what to you feels like magic, then that's it. One of the seeds of devotion, that is inspiration, is installed. And if a student is already inspired by the master, studying the master and his works leads to further development of devotion. And it can obviously provide invaluable insights about the nature of the craft itself. Listen and build taste. But to know what level of mastery your master has attained, you will need to be exposed to the art enough. And that's where listening and building taste comes into the picture. Of course, not just that, listening and building taste will automatically build devotion towards the craft too, as its expansive and profoundness is revealed to you. 2. Longevity. I've already discussed this in the episode, The Second Key for Lifelong Learning Students. Grit. Patience plus perseverance. Sometimes all you've got to do is be patient and continue to practice through what feels like a plateau in your learning journey. And then there is the interest and skill on time graph. A true master knows this. He'll ensure the student masters the current lesson and moves to the next lesson before he loses interest. Sometimes, even when the current lesson is not mastered, the master suggests moving ahead. It's because of this. Only if a student is invested all in, will he or she be able to accomplish anything here. And for that, he or she has to be interested in the learning process. Naturally, our brains lose interest in anything if it takes too long to provide benefits. Students can use strategies like revision and upskilling of the fundamentals and intense practice days to overcome the ghost of disinterest. 3. Everything matters, but practice matters more than all. Age. Yes, age matters. Kids have grasping power, all know that, but we must also acknowledge that we adults have learned to learn. We know how we learn, which will be unique to every individual. One can use the same frameworks and methodologies that work for them. And moreover, the ability of little kids to be able to quickly move through lessons should not only be credited to high grasping power. It is also because they have the freedom, if willing, to give the amount of time and energy required to do that. Hence, regardless of your age, practice more. The ability to sing in relative to pitch helps. Yes, but that's not a mission impossible. With proper guidance, within 3 months, you too can sing in relative pitch. Like I always tell my students, everyone has pitch recognition. It's pitch memory they are lacking. So all one has to do is give enough data to the brain to form the memory of the pitches. In other words, practice more. Here, vocals too. Musical background of the family. Yes, it will help if you are born in a musical environment. But what does it suggest? It suggests the importance of exposure and contagiousness of practice itself. So what should a student who is not born into a musical family do? Listen and practice more. If possible, try to be in such environments that actively or passively push you to listen and practice more. And for parents, this is a cue that you have to create such an environment for the student to listen and practice more. Varna. This might sound insensitive, but it's actually simple when you see it objectively. When you notice the data of musicians of the history and their Varna, you must think how. By the way, Varna is not what you are born to. It's based on your actions and work. That one I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the composition or the color here. More than any other form of classical music, Carnatic music is intertwined with spirituality. Carnatic music is a branch of Sanatana Dharma. Like the tree itself, the branch is also seen as a means to the divine, or the self, or the ultimate. Most compositions, not just one or two, in thousands, are based on bhakti or devotion towards a particular deity. One simple example would be how, in the Hindu tradition, especially in Brahmin families, whenever there is an auspicious day or festival, after or amidst the spiritual rituals, a song or songs on that particular deity is usually recited by individuals one after the other or together in a group. What does this provide to a student? An apt environment and opportunity to present what you know, where you'll realize if you know it or not, among the audience who are not actually worried about how one sings or performs, because everyone's minds will be focused and filled with the divine. I realize this topic is too huge to address here, so I'll not continue. So what must a student do regardless of their varnas? Practice more. Utilize spirituality for music and music for spirituality. Any other relevant point? Yes, that matters too. But practice matters even more. Practice more. 4. Frameworks of learning. Articulation of what you know is very important. It brings clarity and thereby shows us the edge of what we know, and through it gives us the opportunity to know and find the pieces that fit beyond our existing knowledge. Learning through frameworks, a true master provides them for sure, is important, but also is creating your own frameworks and methodologies, especially if what the master has provided has not seeped into you yet. 5. Being mindful and integrating all that is being consumed. How much you guard your mind, that much better your music gets, especially in the initial days, first 3 years. Focus completely on getting better at your craft. So I suggest completely avoiding using social media for the first few years. Then on to use it only to share your art, not to consume too much or mindlessly. I hope you received excellent value in today's episode. To know more, head over to sanatkumarnebi.com, and if you haven't already, check out my book, The Flower of Fulfillment. Thank you for listening, and I wish you have a great day.